Who's really going to get the most out of a drone that claims 100 megapixels and 6K video? If you're a filmmaker who wants to replace a helicopter shot with a portable unit, the DJI Mavic 4 Pro Creator Combo might feel like a dream. If you're just looking to get some decent aerial footage for a weekend vlog, you might wonder whether you're paying for a feature set you'll never use. And, of course, the price tag isn't exactly casual buyer friendly, so you have to ask yourself whether the extra gigabytes, night vision mode, and extra cameras are worth the investment for everyday shooting. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Let's start with the hesitation most buyers feel. The Mavic 4 Pro is not a drop-in replacement for the older Mavic 3 series. It adds a whole new camera architecture: 3 separate lenses, a 100MP Hasselblad sensor, and a telephoto module that can pull a 2 optical zoom without sacrificing image quality. For someone who's never needed more than a single-lens 4K camera, that's a lot of hardware to manage. The first thing I dug into was the real-world workflow. When you fire up the DJI RC Pro 2 controller, the menu isn't just a wall of options, it's built around the idea that you'll be switching between the primary Hasselblad sensor and the telephoto unit on the fly. That means you have to be comfortable with toggling focus modes, setting exposure values for each lens, and using ActiveTrack 360 while you're already busy piloting. If you're new to drones, this learning curve can feel steep, especially when you factor in the legalities of flying in restricted airspace. On the upside, the triple camera system really does open up scenarios that were previously out of reach for most hobbyists. Imagine you're filming a coastal sunrise. The primary 100MP sensor captures astonishing detail, so you can pull a massive 8K still from the footage without losing sharpness. Then, as the sun climbs higher, you switch to the telephoto lens to keep the coastline in frame without moving the drone itself, perfect for maintaining composition while the wind starts to pick up. The 0.1 lux night vision mode is another niche that becomes practical here. Shooting a low-light cityscape at dusk, the drone can still lock onto a subject and keep the scene stable, something that most consumer drones either give up on or require a bright auxiliary light. For creators who need flexibility, real estate agents shooting twilight interiors, travel vloggers documenting night markets, or event planners capturing a festival after dark, that added lenses and night vision are genuine value. Battery life is often the Achilles heel of any drone, and DJI finally stretched the flight time to 51 minutes on a single charge. In practice, that translates to about 40 minutes of usable filming after you account for the time spent taking off, landing, and swapping memory cards. If you're planning a multi-location shoot, that extra 10 minutes can be the difference between needing a spare battery pack and finishing the day with just one charge. However, the battery weight also adds a bit of heft to the unit, and you'll notice the drone feels a little less nimble when you try to push it into tight spaces. For indoor or densely built-up environments, the larger form factor can become a limitation compared to the more compact Mavic Air 2S. One of the most talked about features is the O4 Plus transmission system, promising a 30 km video link and ultra-low latency. In a perfect linear sight scenario, you'll see a crisp, crystal-clear feed on the RC Pro 2 screen, even when you're zoomed in with the telephoto lens. The reality, though, is that the real-world range often drops to half of the advertised distance once you factor in obstacles and interference. I ran a test flying over a suburban neighborhood with a few trees and a small hill. The signal stayed solid up to about 12 kilometers, which is still impressive for most creative workloads. If you're a professional looking to capture footage hundreds of meters away in an open field, the O4 Plus is a solid safety net. For the casual user, the up to 30 kilometers marketing claim may be more hype than practical benefit. Now, who should definitely consider buying this combo? First, professionals and serious hobbyists who have already built a workflow around aerial cinematography and need the extra image resolution and zoom flexibility. If you already shoot in RAW on a DSLR or mirrorless camera and understand how to grade high-resolution footage, the 6K per 60 frames per second HDR video from the Hasselblad sensor will integrate smoothly into your post-production pipeline. Second, anyone who regularly shoots at night or in low-light scenarios, think city skylines, wildlife after dusk, or nighttime events, will appreciate the 0.1 lux sensor and the ability to keep the drone locked onto a subject without additional lighting. Finally, creators who plan to use the drone for multiple purposes, real estate, travel, event coverage, will find the interchangeable lenses a cost-effective way to avoid carrying separate camera rigs. Conversely, the Mavic 4 Pro isn't the best fit for a beginner who just wants to learn how to fly and capture a few scenic shots. The abundance of options can be overwhelming, and the learning curve around focus peaking, exposure locking for